Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Richard Cleveland. Welcome to the live stream tonight. I'm all by myself, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Let's say good evening to David Clark, Bruno Gasper, John Kitchen, Rex Waldy, 3D Printing and Painting, our good friend Jerry Knapp, Art Eckstein, and David Sell. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and let us know what you think about our show by leaving a comment down below. Hit that like button if you liked what was going on tonight on our live stream, or hit that, down thumbs button. It's all up to you. So, what are we talking about tonight? There's Tracy Emsley. Hello, Tracy. That is the lovely wife of our good friend Raymond Emsley, who is a moderator here and is not on our show yet. He will be showing up very soon. So what are we talking about tonight? Well, we're talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. We just got the SKR Pro board. Raymond got one and dropped it off on my desk this week. I did want to go in today and do some work, but I had stuff to do here around the house. We had a major computer crash this week on our live streaming and recording computer. Something happened with Windows and we didn't want to recover, so we ended up having to reinstall stuff. We still have a little work to do on that, so we will be back up and running by Monday. There's Squeeze Studios, hello. And then we've got Canadian Maker Project, our good friend Ron Madsniak. He is moderating as well for us this evening. We've got a good, healthy stream. We are ready to go. Let's run that intro. There we go. All right, welcome to the First Layers live Saturday night show, and you're going to see a bunch of stuff behind me right now. It's a little bit of a mess back there. It could be buffering, Jerry. We've had a little bit of buffering issues this evening. There's Minnesota Maker, welcome. So behind me, what's going on here is we have the Duplicator 7. We've got a curing station that I've made this week, and it seems to be working just fine. I can bring it over here and you guys can have a look-see at it. There we go. So basically what we have here is a wall wart. We have a canister. Now this is a canister I downloaded off Thingiverse. It has a lid which we've lined with foil tape. The beautiful thing about this is this whole top comes right off. So you can place your model on the bottom, put your canister on top. We've got UV 405 nanometer lights in there. And then we've got the lid. So when you're curing your 3D prints from the Duplicator 7 or any resin printer, this is a great little idea. I mean, you can go out and buy yourself some a nail salon thingamabob, but I like this because it was nice and tall. I could do nice tall pieces with it, and it's got a plug-in, and all I need now is just a little turntable to go inside, and it will work just fine. Been experimenting with this stuff this week. This is Monocular Rapid 3D Resin. This is a 1 liter bottle. And this stuff does not stink nearly as much as the Wanhao that I got with the Duplicator 7. So if anybody's got any questions about DLP printing or SLA printing tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's see what we got going on here. There's Jim Haribnak, and then we've got Edge of Tech. Hello, sir. Tony Tillman. And I think I got everybody. I'm doing good. I got everybody. We've also got a sample of Resin Away, which was given to me this week, and we're going to try that as an alternative to cleaning with this stuff, IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Hey, there's Ben Brady and Rick Landon. I'm sorry, mispronounced that. Rick Landon. If we are buffering, it's probably on my end because Shaw is not very reliable sometimes. And yes, I haven't shaved all week. So we're going to be doing a lot more of printing with this stuff in the very near future. We're going to show you some projects. We're going to show you how to set up a good station for cleaning your prints. Hey, there's Raymond Emsley. And I need something to drink. I'm not drinking alcohol tonight, which you guys are probably very surprised. So Michael Castle, hello, sir. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk. I'm going to answer your questions. I've got the chat up right here so I can see what's going on in the chat tonight. I want to thank Jerry for reposting our stream over on his page on Facebook. That is 3D printing and painting over on Facebook. Go check them out. I want to talk about some YouTubers today. I know people you guys need to check out. Just going to bring a couple of these up while we're sitting here. First and foremost, go give Ben Brady some love. I'm not sure what Ben's YouTube channel is, but you can go and once I mention your name, put your YouTube channel down in the chat there so you guys can get some love. Go check these guys out. They're all fairly new to the YouTube space in terms of what they're doing in 3D printing. Also want you to, Ben's got a lot of good ideas. He's been doing a lot of designs. You may have seen some of them on various Facebook forums or Facebook groups like The First Layer. So go and check him out. He's great with designing, and he comes up with all kinds of great little tips and tricks. Gary Strong, hello, sir. And there's Joe Gumby, hello. Matthew Williams, hello. Rover, there you are. So yes, let's talk about some other channels. I want to talk about a channel that's still fairly new. Got very little subscribers. Go over and give this guy some love. He's doing a great job. He's got a little bit of everything on his channel. It's called The Edge of Tech. And I've checked out the channel. I've subscribed myself. We may be doing something with The Edge of Tech in upcoming months. Go check out Ron over at the Canadian Maker Project. Another great little YouTube channel, and he does some different things, more in the making realm. 3D printing and painting, my good friend Jerry Knapp from Las Vegas. Go check out his YouTube channel. Check him out on Facebook. Become a member of his group. He's pretty easygoing guy, and he's been painting a lot. He likes to paint, and he likes to do builds, and he's got a lot of great statues. And with every paint job he does, he gets that little bit better. And I love seeing his progression. Hello, Julie Pierce. So all you guys that I've mentioned, I want you to put your links to your YouTube channels in the chat tonight so people can go over. And I haven't removed all mods. I had to kind of pare things down a little bit. Sorry about that, Rover. But put your YouTube channels down there and put them in the chat so people can go and find them and subscribe to you. I recommend that you guys subscribe to these guys. They're great. Michael over at Teaching Tech, he needs no introduction, but he talked about us not too long ago. So it's only fair that we give Michael a shout out. When we did the Creawesome mod video, he had a look at it and he mentioned us on his program. So I wish that you guys would go over. If you haven't become a member of Teaching Tech yet, go over and subscribe to his channel as well. What else did I want to say about that? I don't have to mention guys like Tom or 3D Printing Nerd or, who else? Devin. I don't have to mention these guys because like Maker's Muse and 3D Printing Nerd and all those guys. You know a guy I really want you to go check out? I want you to go and check out Barnacles, Nerdgasm. he has a little bit of everything on his channel. There's all kinds of tech. Sometimes there's 3D printing. He's just a fun guy. If he's also got a Facebook page, go and check him out as well. I don't know him personally, but I have been following him for a number of years now. And you know, whenever I need a good laugh, it's a great little place to go and watch some stuff. He does some gaming over there and all kinds of stuff. I know it's not always 3D printed related. Hey, there's Dan Adams. Welcome, sir. So make sure, again, those guys that I've mentioned about your YouTube channels, please go and put them down in the chat below so we can approve them and everybody can see them, okay? What else? In Cura 4.0, how to set the layer height to make the raft easy to remove, Rick Landon. I'm still working on that. Right now, so far as I've come across, by using the stock settings, and here's a really cool trick. When you're trying to remove your support material, take your model and put it into warm water, not hot water, just warm water, and then start to remove your support material. You're going to find that they're going to come off a lot easier. There's going to be less scarring, less sharp edges on your support material. It doesn't matter what program you're using, but it's a little trick I just recently tried, and I'm going to do a video on it, and it works absolutely amazing. Try that out. I think you'll get better results, and then the cleanup is even easier. So you can, you know, just don't manipulate. Don't make the water so hot that the plastic becomes very soft and brittle. Just put it in there just to make the supports a little softer and they're easier to come off. All right, let's see. Did I miss Gary Strong? I must have missed Gary Strong. There we go. Jim says he hasn't had issues with supports or removing them. Some people don't, some people do. I know myself, sometimes I struggle with supports. Here's a good little piece that I have to reprint. This is supposed to be cloth, but you can see there that, oh, maybe you can't see it on that one. Let me go to this other overhead camera. I know there's a lot of junk on this table. I'm going to move it off of here and you guys will be able to see this. All right, so if you look at this, you can see that there's a lot of scarring on there and a lot of material that's left over. Hopefully that'll focus better. I'm going to reprint this. There you go. That's much better. So I'm going to reprint this piece. And once I reprint it, it should come out much better. This is a piece for the model for this young lady. Where it goes is right back here, but it tucks down between her legs. This is the model of Mystique sitting on a larger hand. Here's the body. And then the body just kind of sits in there like so. And she is sitting on like a sentinel hand, kind of like that. We have the head here, which we 3D printed in resin. And that's it. A little bit of dead air there. Sorry about that. I got, like, my attention deficit disorder is kicking in because I looked over while I was trying to talk to you guys about something. I've been having really bad times with layer shifts on the CR10S Pro. David Clark. David, are those on the X or the Y? I will bet they're mostly on the Y. If you can put some pictures over on Facebook, I'll be able to have a look at them and then maybe help you with figuring out what's going on there. So in the meantime, as we move forward, I have two printers running right now. They're making more parts for the resin printer over here, so it just makes cleanup a little bit easier. I'm going to be building a cart, I guess, for that printer and for all the accessories that we've got going with it. We'll show you how we've done that so that maybe you can get into 3D printing with resin as well, and might give you some ideas for what you want to do when you set up your area. How messy is the resin? Resin, the more you work with it, the less messy it gets because you understand how to handle the material. At the beginning, I've made plenty of messes already, and to clean them up, I just use isopropyl alcohol. I am going to start using this product called Monicure Resin Away. Now, Clayton, Uncle Jesse, over on his channel, he's been doing a little bit more resin printing as well, and he's gone and tried some different cleaners. I believe there was Simple Green, Mr. Clean, there was another green product, I can't remember what the name of it was. And then there was isopropyl alcohol. Mean Green, that was the other one he tried. And he tried all these three in an ultrasonic cleaner. Now, I'm not going to be using an ultrasonic cleaner because, quite frankly, I don't have one. They're about $100 to buy on Amazon just for a cheap one. I'm going to be using these containers, these old parlor ice cream containers from Nestle. We've got a few of these around. Sometimes we use them, we store food in them. So now I'm going to rob my wife's collection of these and grab a couple, and they will be used for cleaning up my prints. I still have to make a little basket to go in here, but it should work out fine. Now with the curing station that we just talked about earlier, that will make even better add-on to finishing and post-curing our prints. Just finished my first print, Dan Adams says, with wire printing mode in Cura. Kind of neat. I haven't tried the wire printing mode, and maybe I might have to try that. Julie Pierce, still getting unusual amounts of stringing. I'm wondering what I can do to keep my filament dry while I'm printing. Run it through a fruit dehydrator before every print. That might work. Right now, it's unusually unusual high humidity here in Calgary and in southern Alberta, which is not normally the way it is. It's usually pretty dry. And I have a feeling that your stringing, Julie, is still coming from the humidity in the air. It might be something you're going to have to work on. It might be something that you're going to have to play with the retraction, play with speed, play with the heat a little bit. I know I've lowered the temperature of my prints now over on my Ender 3s. I've lowered them to about 200 degrees. Normally I print around 210 in the winter, and I've lowered them and I haven't seen a lot of stringing yet. But my bed is still at 60 for the bed adhesion. But at the end of the day, I think you might be better off if you go ahead and reduce the heat on your nozzle to about 200, and then go ahead and bump up the retraction just a little bit. Is PhotoSense to dry out in normal room light? Is PhotoSense to... I'm not sure I understand what you're asking there. John Kitchen says, Mr. Clean for the win. I keep my filament in Ziploc bags with 1 or 2 desiccant packs, Julie Pierce says. That's actually a great idea. Yes, it's a good excuse to eat more ice cream. That is correct. These seem to fit perfectly for the Wanhao D7. Now, the D7 doesn't have its own cleaning station, and it's a fairly small build plate. I did try one of these. You can still see I've got some alcohol in it. And this was just construction screws. I had this tub still sitting around, so I tried that, but the plate doesn't quite fit down inside. So, Terry Murphy, hello. How do you dispose of cleaning fluids? Well, you can take them to, I know here in Alberta, if you've got cleaning fluids that you can't dilute or run down your sink, like Mr. Clean is Simply Green, Mean Green, all those are environmentally friendly, so you can just dump them down the sink. And the resin is so diluted that's in there, it won't affect your water table. You can let it evaporate if you want. Put it outside and just let it evaporate. Jim saying, isn't PLA a little more tolerant to this? Have a 180 gram saltwater tank near my printers and do not have an issue. Okay, well, that might be interesting. Jim, it all depends on I guess the environment around you. It depends on the heat of your nozzle, depends on the heat of your bed, depends on the ambient temperature in the room. I know in this room here, this is sort of my work area and my office at home, which is always a mess. But right now we also are using it for some storage. So in here during the summer, it is unusually hot. I'm sweating right now. In the winter, it's nice and cool, so all my temperatures go up a little bit. Yeah, Jim's talking about the moisture. I kind of got that. 180 gallon, Ben Brady says. Always, you know, a good thing. So you're probably wondering why there's no Brian tonight. Well, Brian's off on his own adventure, and he's probably got a lot of things planned over the summer, so I don't expect to see Brian a lot on these streams over the summer. So you guys will just have to put up with me. We've got a brand new painting tutorial, part 3, coming out on Monday for the Man of Steel, which is right there behind me. I've been working on this guy, slowly but surely. Every once in a while I get a chance I can print a piece. Every brand of filament is different, that is for sure. For anybody that doesn't know what this is a portion of the dome from the Mr. Baddeley R2D2 project, and I will finish this. This is just PLA. I will get this all together, and at some point in time we'll show you guys the dome when it gets all done. So a lot of little projects going on. I still have this young lady I'm going to reprint. This was the Rocket Woman, which I believe now you can find on a couple of different pay sites. Stream still looks healthy. We're doing good. I know before I got the stream started, it was a little up and down. I wish I could afford to go and visit the Black Fires up in Banff once more before I die. Or the Black Flies, the Black Fires. I can't read this evening. The Black Flies are not nearly as bad here as they are in Manitoba. They're worse in Manitoba. Julie says she's got a couple of Superman busts printed and prepped. One angry face, another more relaxed expression to paint after Angry Dude. I like the Angry Dude. I think he's kind of cool. We're going to bring everything over here. Oh, here we go. I like the Angry Dude. I think this, because of just the nature of this one, I am going to give him some white in the temples, and we're going to age him a little bit more yet, and we'll see exactly how he comes out. And then the base is going to get a lot of metallic treatment after I finish sanding it out. A lot of sanding to do there. But I really am happy with the way that this is coming out. You can see the different colors in his skin when you look up real close. And then of course you guys can see up there we've got the trio that I still have to finish painting. Yes, so let's talk about painting for a little bit. We're seeing as we're doing more episodes. As everybody knows, as of tomorrow, my Patreon page will be completely shut down. If you are a Patreon over there, I thank you for all of your support during our time on Patreon. I just don't think that Patreon is right for us right now. I think that our revenue to keep these shows going and, you know, to keep us getting stuff that we need, is better served on YouTube through AdSense right now. Eventually, you know, you can still help the show by using the super chat down at the bottom. You'll notice in the chat there's a happy face and a little dollar sign. If you click the dollar sign, you can do a little super chat, which always helps out. The show helps us to keep going, helps us to buy filament, because I don't get this stuff for free. Ray can tell you that we have to pay for our items from Spool 3D. So we don't get everything for free. Sometimes we luck out and we get something for free, like the resin away that I'm going to try. But, you know, for our regular everyday supplies, hot ends, nozzles, upgrade parts, we have to buy them. And Super Chat helps out. Also sharing the videos with your friends, family, and just encouraging other people to watch and become subscribers to our channel really helps out a lot. We're very, very close to hitting 10,000. We're moving every day. We're moving a little bit further towards that goal, and I thank you guys very much for that. What do we got here? I may have to get into painting. Just no time to learn. Jim, all you got to really do is watch a video or two. You have your forks to get done, Jim. I'm not sure what that means. Dan Adams, is anybody going to Maker Faire in Dearborn, Michigan, July 27th, 28th? I'm glad that they're actually having a Maker Faire. I know that for now, Maker Faire here in Canada is pretty much gone. So I hope that Maker Fairs are still going to be out there. I don't think Make Magazine is going to be putting them on anymore, however. What type of paint are you using? Testers type or standard car truck paint, lacquers? Rick, I am using, this is going to surprise you, but I'm using these guys. They're Liquitex Basics. These are about $5 for a big tube. I use those. I use Vallejos. These are about $5 a tube as well. I do use some Model Masters acrylics. Again, about $5. I do have some Tamiya. I use FW inks. So I use a wide range of different paints. Just because some of my paints don't meet the color criteria that I want. So having different paints at my disposal, and I'll go in and I'll just pick some of this, pick some of that, pick some of those. And I even use this stuff from time to time, which is all-clads for metals. I use those from time to time as well. I have a little collection of all-clads. They're lacquer-based, so you don't want to put those over acrylic. They won't work. You have to use a lacquer-based primer, which can smell. As for primers, I use this primer and this primer. I use the filler primer from Rust-Oleum. You can find this at any Home Depot. And I use the gray primer from Rust-Oleum as well as my final primer coat before I go on and start painting. Okay, I tried airbrushing, disaster turned out like spraying the fence, David Clark says. Airbrushing takes time to learn. I don't know what type of airbrush you have, if it's a single action or double action, but I will be doing more videos pertaining to airbrushing in the very near future, so keep an eye out for that. Julie says, yes, I use Liquitex and Vallejo mostly. That's very true. And a third brand of inks. Yes, I do use both the Liquitex inks and the FW inks. The reason I like the FW inks, these are very heavily pigmented. And they're about $7 a jar, but they go a long, long way because you don't use very much. And there's an episode coming up in upcoming weeks when we do some more of the painting. You guys will actually see me use those. Good evening, HVAC A to Z. Welcome. Yes, it takes a lot of practice. Just found a notepad I can use for practicing with my airbrush. Still doing lots of dots. Great. Keep doing dots, keep doing lines, and you'll learn more as you go forward. Tester type model paints O and cut in 11 trichloroethene. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but the ones I'm using are acrylics. So these are the Model Master acrylics. I'm not sure. You know what I found out? That Testers paints are made by Rust-Oleum. What is a good starter airbrush kit? It depends on your budget, really, because there are some airbrushes out there that are great starter kits, but they're very expensive. Now, I have an Iwata airbrush. I also have an Iwata airbrush compressor as well. There is a kit out there. It's roughly about $400. It's pretty expensive. When I was doing a different show, Iwata sponsored a couple of episodes, so I was able to get some stuff from them. But I had an Iwata long before they even sponsored a show that I did. And to be perfectly honest with you, I like the Iwata airbrushes. Pasha or Pache is always very good. You can use a small compressor. And what I recommend is that you find an airbrush that you like, start with a single action airbrush, then move to a double action airbrush as you learn how to use your airbrush. Rushing out and buying an expensive, a double action airbrush is going to be a waste of money if you decide that it's not for you. Because at the end of the day, spend a little now, learn, invest into better later. Don't run out and buy the best of the best. Start with something small. So I would start with either a Badger or a Pache airbrush, a single action. Then I would move up and spend the money on something like an Iwata Eclipse like I have. Or even a double action Pache or Badger airbrushes. Those are the three brands I recommend to anybody. Badger 200. I prefer the Badger 300 for starters. It's a little less money, I believe. Throwaway air can or a compressor. A compressor to start with. I don't like the throwaway air cans because what happens, much like compressed air, is they will send liquid down your tube and into your paint, and it can ruin your paint job. Don't use the compressed air cylinders. A, they're more expensive in the long run. You're better off going and buying a little compressor from your local hardware store. You can usually find them for around 40 or 50 bucks, 3-gallon, the little red ones, pancake one. Make sure that it has, I have a Husky that I use that's very small. It's kind of loud, but you know, I can open up the tank and let the tank fill up with air. And when I'm airbrushing with that one, because I have the tank, the airbrush isn't constantly, or the compressor isn't constantly going, unlike the little Iwata compressor that I have back there. It constantly goes because there's no way to adjust the airflow properly. It just kind of bleeds out. So I have a little Husky from, I believe I got that at Home Depot for around 60 bucks, 60 or $70. It was pretty inexpensive, and set your pressure down to about 20 psi, and you should be fine. And that's a good way to get started. And then, you know, you can use that compressor for anything, filling up your tires, blowing off your workbench, whatever. It can be used for a multiple of different things. Whereas the little guy that is sitting behind me, covered in stuff right now, is not good for those applications. Let's see. Kijiji for the win. Yes, please show me the Superman model. Okay, I'll show it to you one more time. So here is Superman, where we're at so far. Da-da-da. Okay, so Kijiji for the win. I did say that. Got my Iwata clips there, Julie says. She got it off of Kijiji. David Clark, that's just like printing Richard Ender 3 before an Ultimaker 5. Would I buy? Yes, I would buy an Ender 3 before I spent the money on an Ender 5. Or, pardon me, a Ultimaker 5. Kind of the same idea. Now, not always is the higher priced item the better item. I think that when if you've got a limited budget, get what you can for now. Make it work for you. There's a lot of great things. Princess Auto here in Canada, and you guys have Harbor Freight in the States. Both places have great little starter airbrushes for around $300 or $15, $20. You can get a whole little airbrush kit. The one I'm talking about at Princess Auto, it is an exact knockoff of a Badger 300 airbrush. So all the Badger parts fit it perfectly. So if you decide that you want to get better parts for your single action airbrush, you can always get the parts from your local hobby shop or order them online and fit them to that smaller body. What to do? Now, if you showed it earlier, okay, I know. There we go. Do you need a hair dryer? Yes, I do, because I've got long hair. I use a hair dryer. I also use these guys when I'm painting. I'm getting older. My eyesight's not as good. When I'm painting small details, I really like to have a set of these. These ones have a light on them, so I can see a little bit closer about what I'm doing. So yeah, I really like, and the nice thing about this light is it's positionable, so I can move it around. And then it's got the little monocle, which I never use. I usually always take this off because it just doesn't serve me. And then on the inside, there's another flip down, so you can even get more magnification, which again, it's something I don't typically use. I just leave them out of the way. Have my glasses on, I put that on, I'm good to go. A hair dryer, just a simple, cheap Conair hair dryer from Walmart, works great. I use it between coats. If I want something to dry a little bit faster, I will use the hair dryer on it, get it nice and dry, and then give it a spray with some of this stuff, which is a low odor Krylon matte spray. This stuff is great. It's matte, so it doesn't give me any shine, and I can spray it on really quick and then hit it with the hair dryer and start applying more paint afterwards. Jim owns some jeweler's lenses. There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure what the magnification is on these. I got these off of Amazon, I believe. And I got one for my wife and one for myself because she does some detailed stuff, and I'm not really sure what the magnification is on them. Probably 1.5 to 3. It is what it is. Yeah, I like to use those. Other things that I use, this is not necessary, but I've got one of these. I've had one of these for years. It's called a Badger from the Airbrush company. It's all it is just a little electric paint stirrer. You put a couple of batteries in it, it stirs up your paint. Really good thing to have. NJ Adventurer, do they make a clear coat that's not glossy? Yes, yes, absolutely they do. This stuff here is matte. This is not glossy at all. Go check it out. I get this stuff surprisingly at Walmart in their craft section. They have both glossy and matte there. Rich, how bad is your eyes? They're bad. These are progressive lenses. Yeah, getting back to the glossy versus matte, I get mine at Walmart. It's usually the cheaper place to buy them. I don't go to Michael's or I don't go to any expensive art store to get them. I try and find my paints at the least expensive place that I can because paints can be expensive depending on where you buy them. I know FW inks in Calgary can range anywhere from about $7 right up to $14, depending on where you get them. And I know online, in Canada anyway, going to Amazon for Vallejo paints, I would never do it because they're almost twice the price that I can get them at the local hobby shop here for. So, and Vallejos go a long way. I have quite a collection of Vallejos because I used to do all kinds of different things model building wise. I still do traditional model building, and I might do that on the first layer one time just to give you guys a look back at how it used to be done before we could print all the parts. Good to know. Asked the local hobby store, and the guys told me that there was no such thing. Guess time to find a new hobby store. Yes, NJ Adventurer, it is time to find a new hobby store. If you can't find this stuff, it's by Krylon. It's low odor clear matte spray. If you can't find it, let me know, and I'll see what I can do about getting you some, because we've got it plenty here in Canada. So, hey, there's Johnny Gardner. Welcome, sir. You're a little bit late. As a side note, acrylic flow is now called wetting agent. Well, it depends on who you buy it from, Julie. Sometimes you can get it as, it can be called wetting agent or wetting agent. I still, Liquitex Flow Aid. This is still available. This is like a $13 bottle. This stuff is not cheap. That's why I like to go with the golden. And the golden stuff, acrylic flow release is what golden calls it. And I think this stuff was like $9 for the whole thing. And there's 273 milliliters in here. And then I also use their retarder. What retarder does, and I know if somebody's going to ask me, why do I use this? What retarder does is it allows your paint to stay wet for longer. So when you're trying to blend colors, this is really good stuff. But the acrylic, this additive, the acrylic flow release, essentially this is almost like soap putting into your water. And what it does, it helps to thin out and allows your paint to flow better when using a brush. How do I dilute the paints? Wow, this really became a painting issue. What I use to dilute paint is isopropyl alcohol. These are my two primary ingredients for diluting paint: distilled water and isopropyl alcohol. I buy this. One of these jugs will last me a year. One of these will last me a year. Hey, there's Mark Baker. The reason I use the distilled water is because it's a little cleaner. There's not so many additives in it like you would out of tap water. So the distilled water I like to use, and I use this. Now, I'll use this sometimes in a 50-50 mix. So 50% of the water, 50% alcohol for my airbrush if I'm making airbrush thinner. If I'm making something for thinning my paints for brushing, I'll use a 75-25 mix. And then I will also add in a little bit of the acrylic flow, a couple of drops of that for maybe 3 to 6 drops of this for every 30 milliliters. Hey, 3D Overlord. So that's how I make my own airbrush thinner and my paint thinner. I always keep a generous amount on hand. I also use it as a cleaner sometimes. 9 times out of 10, what I will do is I will take windshield washer fluid that you can find anywhere. You buy it in a big 4 liter jug. And I use that to clean my airbrush. It does a great job cleaning the airbrush. It gets all of the gunk out and it's cheap. Instead of going and buying airbrush, you can buy commercial airbrush cleaner. This is 250 mils, so a cup for $8. Yeah, that's a little expensive. So I've stopped buying commercial airbrush cleaners. The Iwata airbrush cleaner, the Tamiya airbrush cleaner, all of the commercial cleaners are pretty expensive. So by going and buying yourself a 4 liter car windshield washer jug works great, and it'll last you a long time. So you're going to get much more value out of the cleaning products that you use. Do you ever paint with anything other than acrylics? I have painted with lacquers in the past, and I use the All-Clads when I'm painting in lacquers. I have used the Testors lacquers as well. It all depends on what I'm painting. If I'm painting a car body, I really like to use the lacquers because they give you that same sort of finish as a high quality car paint finish. The reason I don't do a lot of lacquer painting is because it smells. Even though I've got an airbrush booth set up here with a cleaning solution, it can still get a little bit stinky, and you have to wear a respirator when you're spraying that stuff. How do you go about making batches of paint and storing them like skin shades? David Clark's asking. Basically what I will do is I go and get these jars right here from the store, from the hobby shop. These jars you can get at any hobby shop. You can order them online as well. I usually buy them 6 at a time. This is 40 mils. And what I will do is I will take equal amounts of my paint that I use to make my basic skin tone. I will put it in there. I'll put a little bit of my thinner in there, which includes this stuff, the distilled water, and the alcohol. I'll get it to a brushable consistency. I don't water it all the way down to airbrush consistency. I do get it to a brushable consistency that I like, and then I can use it right out of the jar. How do you go about making batches of paint? Okay, we did say that. Rich, found the problem with my CR10 Pro. The display is keeping my system from booting. Johnny, where did you get your CR10S Pro? I would contact the person that you got it from and let them know that you've got a display issue. Now, you may need a firmware update on that display. And if that's the case, you have to pull the bottom off the CR10S Pro and get the firmware, put it on an SD card, and stick it into the display. It's a real pain in the ass, but you have to do it. David Houghton, hello, sir, from England, London, England. My roots are from England, but don't ask me to do an English accent because I do it really badly, and I don't want to insult anybody. I do a better Scottish accent. I don't know why. Finally found somebody who carried steel ball bearings. Hunting section of Princess Auto. Wow. Okay. That's a good point. In the bottom of all of my jars, I have ball bearings, and I use stainless steel ball bearings in particular because that helps me to shake them up. It helps to agitate the paint that's in there. FYI, Sunward Hobbies Online in Canada has a large selection of airbrushing, paint, and hobby supplies. Great. Thank you, Phil. That's good to know. That's excellent to know. Yeah, moving right along. We are going to be getting in a CR10S Max over at Spool 3D, just telling you some of the stuff that's coming in. I don't know if we're going to do a build log on that or a build video on that because I don't see the advantage of the Max. It's 450 by 450 by 450, I think. So yeah, it's no different than a CR10S or S Pro. Any sports stores with hunting, you can get BBs. Yeah, Jim, but you want to make sure that they're stainless steel because you don't want them to corrode inside your paint, because if they corrode inside your paint, then you got a problem. Your paint is no longer any good. Every once in a while, go ahead and agitate. Here's some commercial airbrush thinner, and this stuff is 10 bucks. That's commercial airbrush thinner in there. So you can, I have bought it, much of it anymore. Yeah, you have to have stainless steel, something that won't rust, because if they rust, you're in big trouble. What else do I want to show? Oh, here's some plastic weld. I always have some of this around. It's not good for PLA. You have to use super glue on PLA or 3D gloop, which we're going to be talking about 3D gloop in upcoming episodes. We got a whole series of 3D gloop videos coming up. Excuse me. I'm getting dry in here because it's so hot in this room. Excuse me. There we go. Yeah, 3D Gloop works. This is the super glue that I use. It's the Gorilla Super Glue. Really like it. It works out really well. Fairly inexpensive. You can find it almost anywhere. Few other things that I want to touch on. What is this stuff? That's black primer. You can hear in here there's BBs. You can hear that. This is black primer. This is ready to go right into the airbrush and put onto your models. This is the All-Clad 2 lacquer based. This stuff really stinks, but it's good. It's good primer. So when I'm doing a car or something that needs to be really glossy, like when I do the base on the Superman model, I'll probably be using lacquers. Just so you know, the lacquers then will be the lacquers then will help me to get that metallic look that I'm looking for. So Ben says, don't use BBs. Jim, they rust. Yes, that's why I said it has to be stainless steel. Ball bearings are usually the best stainless steel ball bearings. You can find them online. Not a BB, glass marble. Glass marbles work. Problem with glass marbles is they're really hard to get down inside these bottles. They take up a lot of room. You can hear in there. There's one there. But yeah, I use the stainless steel. And then when these are done, I fish the stainless steel out, I clean them off, I put them in a bag, and they're ready for the next time I have paint. Never throw them out. Hold on to them for a while. We have just a few minutes left. So we got about 6 minutes left. I think, something like that. We did start a couple minutes early. So if you've got any questions, please ask them in the chat there, and I will do my best to go and answer them for you. Please make sure that if you are new to the show, I just want to remind you once again that Super Chat is always on when we do a live stream. So if you feel so inclined that you'd like to help support the show, by all means, go ahead and hit that Super Chat. That's how we're able to afford, things like Duplicator 7s and things like that. Companies aren't jumping through our door to send us stuff, so we have to sometimes go ahead and get guys to help us out, you guys to help us out once in a while. Rex Waldy, I'm sure I said hi to you earlier. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Richard, I make my own super glue accelerator, a mix of bleach and water. I've got one better for you, Rex. And this is something I've tested. Just use IPA. Put it in a spray bottle and use IPA. It's safer. It's nicer. And it does do a great job. What's coming up on Wednesday? Well, hopefully I can retrieve stuff off of a hard drive that is right now going through a reconstruction. Somehow, when we lost the main drive, we lost one other drive. The original, what is it called now? Partition disappeared. So we know that all the data is still on there. We just have to recover it. So I'm not sure what is coming up on Wednesday, but we have another painting episode on Monday. You could put a small neodymium magnet in the paint bottles and store them in a metal shelf so they don't fall over. That's actually a great idea. Rex, you're welcome for the tip. And yeah, so if you guys want to support the show, you can do so by a number of different ways. You can go and buy some of our merch over at Teespring. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got tote bags, we've got hoodies, both for men and women. Terry Murphy, back up. Yes, you have to back up. I am working on a new backup solution for backing up all of my videos. So when the raw video is done, it will go up to a backup server, and then we'll be able to bring it down when we need to edit it. And then if we have this problem again, it won't affect us too badly. Oh, no stuff in the can gone. That there is some stuff that was shot over the last few weeks that we're hoping to get back, but I do have some other stuff hanging around that I could use. I did want to do a behind the scenes episode over at Spool 3D, which has already been recorded, but it was on that drive. But I do have some other stuff. I just have to see what I've got, and I'll let you guys know. Jim, I am going to call you. We're going to put together that server, even though it sounds like a jet engine. We're going to put it together and get it up and running. We may put it into the back closet there, so it's not in my office. I am going to call you though, Jim. Yes. So with that said, everybody, I think that's pretty much it. So like, subscribe, and support the channel by putting your comments down below, because all of that helps us in the end. If you liked the show, tell us you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell us what you didn't like. I know that the last episode that I put up regarding Cura 4.1, some people are having issues with it. Some people aren't having issues with it. I've never experienced an issue with 4.1 yet. It seems to work just fine for me. So I'm not sure what's going on with some people, and they say that it's totally bugged. I don't find that, so maybe I'll have to do a little bit more investigation, see where the bugs are. So with that said, my friends, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming by and sticking around and watching and getting some tips and asking your questions. We're going to do this again next Saturday. We'll be a little bit better prepared next Saturday, and we'll have a topic to talk about, so we'll go from there. Until that time, my friends, please remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. And everybody go have a drink on me and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I've got a lawn to take care of tomorrow if it doesn't rain. So I am out of here. Good night, everybody.